25, 1993, three 8-year-old boys, Stevie Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers, went missing in West Memphis, Arkansas. They were last seen in the early evening, riding their bikes in the neighborhood. Their parents reported them missing that night, and a search began. The next day, around 1:45 p.m., their bodies were discovered in a drainage ditch in a wooded area known as Robin Hood Hills. The boys were found naked, hog-tied with their own shoelaces, and had suffered various injuries. Christopher Byers had additional mutilation injuries that led to speculation about a possible sexual component to the crime. The brutal nature of the murders created a media frenzy and intense public pressure to find the perpetrators. The West Memphis Police Department, under Chief Inspector Gary Gitchell, quickly focused on the possibility of a satanic ritual killing, influenced by the satanic panic that was prevalent at the time. They zeroed in on three local teenagers, Damien Echols, Jason Baldwin, and Jessie Misskelley. Damien Echols, an 18-year-old high school dropout, stood out due to his interest in occultism, heavy metal music, and his distinctive gothic appearance. Echols was known to be somewhat of a social outcast, which made him an easy target for suspicion. Jason Baldwin, a 16-year-old friend of Echols, was an excellent student and had no criminal record, but his association with Echols drew him into the police's radar. Jessie Misskelley Jr., a 17-year-old with an IQ of 72, which is classified as borderline intellectual functioning, was a casual acquaintance of Echols and Baldwin and was known to have limited mental capacity. On June 30, 1993, Jessie Misskelley was interrogated by the police for about 12 hours, with only a small portion of the interrogation being recorded. During this interrogation, Misskelley eventually confessed to the murders. However, his confession was riddled with inconsistencies and factual errors. For example, he initially stated the murders occurred in the morning, then changed his story multiple times before aligning his statements with police suggestions. Misskelley's confession implicated Echols and Baldwin, stating that the three of them had killed the boys as part of a satanic ritual. Despite later recanting his confession, the police used it to arrest all three teenagers. The trials were marked by a series of contentious and controversial elements. Jessie Misskelley's trial was held separately from that of Damien Echols and Jason Baldwin. The prosecution's case relied heavily on Misskelley's confession. Despite its inconsistencies and the coercive nature of the interrogation, the confession was allowed as evidence. Misskelley's defense argued that his confession was coerced and that he did not understand the implications of his statements. His lawyers highlighted his intellectual limitations. Nevertheless, Misskelley was found guilty of 1 count of first-degree murder and 2 counts of second-degree murder. He was sentenced to life imprisonment plus 40 years. The trial of Damien Echols and Jason Baldwin followed, characterized by a similar lack of solid evidence. The prosecution's case was largely circumstantial. They presented Misskelley's confession as evidence, despite his absence from the trial. They also brought in a self-proclaimed expert on the occult who testified that the murders bore the hallmarks of a satanic ritual. Echols and Baldwin's defense argued that there was no physical evidence linking them to the crime scene. They contended that the prosecution's case was based on prejudice and fear rather than facts. Despite these arguments, both Echols and Baldwin were found guilty. Damien Echols, considered the ringleader, was sentenced to death, while Jason Baldwin received life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Significant concerns about the fairness of the trials emerged from the outset. The lack of physical evidence linking the accused to the crime scene, the reliance on questionable testimony, and the atmosphere of fear and panic in the community all contributed to doubts about the validity of the convictions. Over the years, these concerns grew as more people became aware of the case and the potential miscarriage of justice it represented. One of the pivotal moments in bringing national and international attention to the case was the release of the documentary Paradise Lost: The Child Murders at Robin Hood Hills in 1996. Directed by Joe Berlinger and Bruce Sinofsky, the documentary aired on HBO and highlighted the many flaws in the investigation and trial. It portrayed the accused teenagers as victims of a modern-day witch hunt and galvanized public support for their cause. As new evidence emerged and public support grew, the legal battle to free the West Memphis Three intensified. Advances in DNA testing, which were not available at the time of the original trials, revealed no genetic material linking Echols, Baldwin, or Misskelley to the crime scene. Instead, the DNA evidence pointed to other potential suspects who had not been thoroughly investigated. This new evidence, along with numerous procedural and legal irregularities in the original trials, formed the basis for new appeals. In 2007, the Arkansas Supreme Court granted a hearing to consider the new DNA evidence and other procedural concerns raised by the defense. The legal process was slow and arduous, but it ultimately led to a significant breakthrough. In August 2011, after 18 years in prison, Damien Echols, Jason Baldwin, and Jessie Misskelley were released as part of a plea agreement known as an Alford plea. This legal maneuver allowed them to assert their innocence while acknowledging that the prosecution had enough evidence to convict them. It was a bittersweet victory. While it meant freedom for the West Memphis Three, it also meant that the state did not have to admit to any wrongdoing or misconduct in the original trials. The release of the West Memphis Three did not mark the end of their fight for justice. They have continued to seek full exoneration, which would require the state to acknowledge their wrongful conviction. Additionally, the true killer or killers of Stevie Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers remain unknown, leaving an open wound in the community of West Memphis and among the families of the victims. In the years since their release, the West Memphis Three have worked to rebuild their lives and advocate for others who may be wrongfully convicted. Damien Echols, in particular, has become a vocal advocate for criminal justice reform. He has written several books about his experiences and the broader issues of the American justice system, including his memoir, Life After Death. His writings and public appearances have helped to shine a light on the systemic problems that can lead to wrongful convictions. The case of the West Memphis Three has also had a significant impact on popular culture and the public's understanding of the criminal justice system. In addition to the Paradise Lost documentaries, which were followed by 2 sequels, the case has inspired numerous books, films, and articles. One notable example is the 2012 documentary West of Memphis, produced by Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh, which provided a comprehensive overview of the case and the efforts to secure the release of the 3 men. The story of the West Memphis Three remains a powerful symbol of the potential for miscarriages of justice. It underscores the dangers of prejudice, the flaws in forensic and legal procedures, and the profound human cost of wrongful convictions. The case is a reminder of the importance of vigilance, fairness, and the ongoing need for reform in the pursuit of justice. It also highlights the resilience and determination of those who continue to fight for truth and justice, both for themselves and for others who have been wrongfully accused. I'd like to take this time to pay my respects to the victims and all the families that were affected by these heinous acts on both sides. You deserved better and are forever in our prayers. May you rest in peace. Conclusion. The pursuit of justice in this case is a testament to the enduring power of truth and the human spirit's capacity to overcome even the most daunting obstacles. The West Memphis Three story is one of hope, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of justice in the face of overwhelming odds. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more Killa Cliff Notes, and I'll see you in the next one.